The spotlights turn on. Tim Cook unveils the iPhone 17, a thinner, lighter model with more storage. The audience cheers, the media buzzes, and one word dominates: Apple intelligence. But behind the polite applause, the truth is harsh. The iPhone 17 still looks just like the 13. Its revolutions are just details. Vision Pro sold just half of expectations, while Siri, once a pioneer in 2011, is now surpassed by ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini. While Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, and Chinese companies are reshaping global productivity, Apple is announcing delayed in-house features, sometimes even completely made up, just to reassure investors. In the minds of analysts, one thought keeps coming back. What if Apple missed the biggest technological shift since the iPhone? Because in 2024, the company spent $110 billion on stock buybacks, but barely $30 billion on research and development. Apple, which once embodied global innovation, now prefers to buy itself time. So how did this company, once the absolute master of innovation, end up being left behind by the artificial intelligence revolution? Why did Siri, once 10 years ahead, become a burden? And above all, can Apple regain the magic of Steve Jobs or its innovator DNA? Did it die with him? Hi, Entrepreneur Mindset. Hope you're well. I don't know if it's the same for you, but as someone who owns many Apple products, I feel like the company's getting overtaken from all sides. Today, we explore the explosive story of an empire that sacrificed creativity for profit. And that finds out too late that even giants can be overtaken by their own greed. Let's go. Steve Jobs steps forward on stage, gaunt from illness, but eyes sharp. He tells his team the feared news. He's stepping down as chief executive officer. He then gives his right-hand man, Tim Cook, the keys to the empire. And he gives him a phrase that has become legendary. Don't ask yourself what Steve would do, just do what's right. That night, few could imagine how much this advice would completely redefine Apple. Because for Jobs, what was right was simple. The products, above all, the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, the iMac. A decade, a revolution. Even on the verge of bankruptcy, he never gave in to the shareholders. By the way, I was thinking about making a video on the iMac. Let me know what you think in the comments. In 2006, after Apple exceeded Dell's valuation, he told employees, "The market is changing, but making great products is what matters." Tim Cook, on the other hand, is a different man, a logistics genius, obsessed with margins and efficiency. With Jobs, he formed a perfect duo. One dreamed, the other executed. But alone at the helm, Cook changed his course. In April 2012, 7 months after Jobs' death, Apple paid its first dividend in 17 years. He launches a massive share buyback program. Rather than using its billions for new product research, Apple returns them to investors. Wall Street applauds and the stock soars, but worry is growing in the design studios. John Ive, creator of the iPhone and MacBook, sees the power shifting. From the workshop to the financier's office, this shift, invisible to the general public, marks the end of an era. Jobs saved Apple by risking everything on the product, while Cook propelled Apple to the top by betting on finance. The irony in this story is that this difference, which seems subtle at first, would one day become very costly. Tim Cook unveils the iPhone X, edge-to-edge screen, face identification, and a futuristic design. The excited audience waits, but one detail shifts everything. The price surpasses $1,000 for the first time, marking a turning point. From iPhone 4 to 7, the price stayed at $650 for 7 years. Each new generation brought more power, more sleekness, without costing more. Steve Jobs wanted to democratize technology, but Tim Cook decided to turn it into a cash cow. But does $1,000 seem expensive? That was just the start of the inflation. Because in 2023, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is priced at $1,200, and even the budget model climbs to $600. And the worst part is, the design has hardly changed since 2019. Same shape, same edge, same button. Customers pay more, but no longer feel futuristic. In September 2025, Apple unveils iPhone 17. Yes, it's thinner. Yes, it has an improved promotion display and a 48-megapixel Fusion camera. But other than that, nothing that redefines our lives. An almost identical design since then, so-called new features that are only cosmetic, and always a price increase. This syndrome impacts the whole iPad Pro lineup, unchanged for 6 years, as well as the Apple Watch, AirPods Max, HomePod, and Magic Mouse, all largely the same for a decade. Whereas before, every 6-year cycle saw revolutions like the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad, today innovations are reduced to color variations and price increases. By the way, tell me what you think. But my last iPhone upgrade was to the 15, which switched to the new USB-C standard, because it made charging all my devices easier. And that's the only reason I changed my iPhone 13. But Team Android, don't worry, I also have a Samsung, because I think they both have their pros and cons. By the way, I made a video about it, which you can find in the description. Anyway, the analysts are talking about a tired Apple. The Vision Pro, expected to sell 1 million, is stalled at 500,000 sales. It was too expensive, heavy, and late. As a former designer said, we're no longer designing, just repeating. The magic is gone. Apple is slowly fading away. And while these engineers are perfecting a smartphone we've already seen 1,000 times, the real revolution is happening elsewhere. And it has already completely changed your lives. Artificial intelligence. On stage, Phil Schiller holds an iPhone 4S and says, "Hey Siri." The crowd erupts as, for the first time, a phone talks, understands, and responds. Apple is a decade ahead, offering a groundbreaking promise, a personal assistant in your pocket. But this lead became a disadvantage since Siri was just a set of pre-programmed, rigid rules, not a real brain. By 2015, Google Assistant and Alexa had already surpassed it. In 2017, a study showed the gap. Siri answered correctly 62% of the time, while the others exceeded 90%. But it was in 2022 that an earthquake would hit the tech world. Chat generative pre-trained transformer and assistant capable of reasoning, contextualizing, writing, coding, exactly what Siri should have become. But Apple missed the shift to transformers, the technology behind modern artificial intelligence. As a result, the company that led the way is now in the emergency lane for the first time in its history. Apple panics. In the summer of 2024, Tim Cook announces with great fanfare, Apple Intelligence, a new generation of Siri powered by artificial intelligence. The public believes it, but several engineers testify the demo was mostly fake. The real features aren't ready. Delays continue. The revolutionary Siri, originally set for October 2024, is now delayed to 2025, then 2026. Some are quietly saying not until 2027. In the meantime, Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI are already redefining our lives. Gemini integrates search, Copilot aids businesses, Chat generative pre-trained transformer is appearing on all smartphones. And Apple? The company spends $77 billion on stock buybacks, but won't invest $10 billion to double its crucial artificial intelligence GPU capacity. An engineer says, "We have $150 billion in cash, but no vision." A federal court has begun false advertising proceedings. Apple is accused of selling artificial intelligence features that don't exist, a first in the company's history. The company that created the iPhone is missing the artificial intelligence train, and the worst part is, it's not the technology's fault. It's a choice. Breaking stock market records instead of inventing the future. A number hits like a slap. $110 billion, that's how much Apple spent in 1 year to buy back its own shares. A world record, more than any company in history. Its research and development spending is limited to $30 billion, a third of Amazon's and half of Google's. And every dollar that could have funded artificial intelligence, augmented reality, or a new product went into a program that only benefits shareholders. John Ivey, the legendary designer, once told a colleague that Apple is slipping out of our control. And the results are visible. The keynotes have become predictable, and the announcements are mainly meant to reassure the market. Revolutions become mere iterations, and Apple now essentially runs like a public bank. Its main product isn't the iPhone anymore, it's its stock. The issue is, you can only buy back shares for so long. But the competition is moving forward. In summer 2025, NVIDIA's market cap hits $4 trillion, Microsoft rises to $3.8 trillion, and Apple falls to third. It's not a collapse, but a slow decline, a symbol of an empire that has stopped running. An analyst summed it up harshly. Steve Jobs was building the future, Tim Cook is building a bank for his investors. The lesson is that no empire can live forever on its past glory. It must keep reinventing itself, like Rolex, which has existed for over a century. Yet the brand has built a loyal clientele eager to compete for watches priced like houses, all due to its marketing? Incredible and never seen before, as you can see in the video that's showing.